Hello guys, how are you doing? I'm super excited to see you here. Please welcome to my channel. Welcome to another tutorial. And if you're new here, please welcome, stick around because you're gonna learn a lot. For this video, I'm going to continue with the previous video that I was talking about introduction to Spring Boot. If you haven't watched that video, please go ahead and watch that video first because this will be a continuation of that particular video. However, if you're a beginner and intermediate, this is definitely the video for you. And if you're not that new to Spring Boot, you can actually catch up and go together on this particular video. So first of all, I'm gonna take you through the classes that I created last time. I created a controller called Hello World. I'm going to change from Hello World to user controller. Okay, so let's refactor this to user controller. Perfect. And then I created a user entity which is gonna represent what will be in the database. And then we created user repository which connects the entity to the database. Okay, and then we created user request. This is the request that is coming from the front end or coming from the postman, and then we use this request to actually store something or retrieve something from our database. Okay, we also created user response. This will send a response back. Okay, we also created user service. Now the service lies in between the user controller and the database. So the service will help to add another layer of security. Instead of creating everything on your controller, you need the service to actually communicate in between the controller and your repository. Okay, and this is the main application. Okay, so let's dive into connecting our application with Mysql database. We're gonna use Mysql database. First of all, you need to know that previously we used H2 database. Let me just head over to the POM file. We used H2 database previously, and this database, it's just in-memory database which helps to query some things from the database as if it's a real database, but it disappears the moment the application is not running. Okay, now we want to connect our application to a real database so that even when our application is not running, it can actually store our data. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and close all this, then head over to application.properties. So on this file, this is where we create our configurations, including the configuration to connect with our database. We're gonna start with simple configurations, just like Spring application name, which sets the application name of our application. Okay, so we can call it Spring tutorial. Okay, we can also set the server. So by default, the server runs on port 8080. So if I remove this part, let me just run so that you can see the port. Yeah, so by default, it runs on port 8080. However, you can actually choose to change that. We can probably say 8081 and try to run it again. And now your application is running on port 8081. This is how you do simple configuration from this file. Okay, so I'm gonna exit and take it back to 8080. Okay. Something else you can add on the configuration is the change file, the changelog file. This is where either your Liquibase or Flyway. In this case, I'm using Liquibase. This is where your Liquibase changelog files are located. Okay, and if you don't know about Liquibase or Flyway or how to do database migrations, I'll leave a link on the card above. So go and click on the link, find out more about Liquibase. But on this tutorial, I'm gonna focus more on improving this application and adding more features. So simply I'll I'll link the class path, which is db.changelog, and then changelog master. I'm gonna show you in a minute where this file will be located. Okay, so down here you can see under resources, we can add new directory called db.changelog, and then we add a file called changelog master. Okay, sorry, I need to undo that. It should be an XML file. Sorry for that. And then we write our changelog here. However, we need the dependency of Liquibase, so we need to add that as well. So right here, we need to add another dependency, and the group ID will be org.liquibase, and then the artifact will be Liquibase Maven plugin. Okay, and then we can also add the version. We can go with 3.4.2. I've used this before, so I can verify that. Let me just close this. Alright, perfect. One more thing that we need to do under the plugins, we need to add a plugin of Liquibase. Alright, and then we need to add one final thing, configuration. And then for this one, we just directing where we are directing the configuration to where we put our configuration, which is application.properties. Okay, so property file, so that would be source main resources, and then applications dot property. Okay, we can add one more configuration, which is property file will override and say true. Okay, cool. Now it will go to the POM file, look for the properties, and then it will be directed to application.properties, and then it will come and check the class file, sorry, the class path, and then find it here. Okay, so now when you go to change master, Now when you say database, when you start typing database, it actually autocompletes. And in here, since this is the changelog master or change master, let's just change this to changelog master. It doesn't make sense to have change master, so I need to refactor this, rename to changelog master, refactor that. So since this is changelog master, we need now the files which are going to do the changelogs, and we're gonna call them changelog version 1 is the conventional way of naming them. So the second version will be version 2 and so on. Okay, and we also need now to include the file that all the files that will hold the changelogs. So this will be db stroke changelog stroke changelog version 1.xml. Alright, close that. Then we just need this line for XML. Okay, XML version and then encoding UTF-8. Alright, perfect. I think we are done here. Oh, one more step on this. So I need that, and then say database changelog. Then inside now we can put our change sets with ID starting from 1, and then author can be the author of that change set. So in my case, I'm gonna just put my name, and then if we want to add a column in the table name user. Okay, let's go to user just to see what we have here. I have ID, name, and age. So for the name, we can say ID. Okay. And then inside here, we add type, which will be an int, and then we can copy this and create another change set with ID 2, same table, and then we change the name to name of the person. Type will be varchar, and then copy paste that and have another change set ID 3 with the name of age, and that would be an int. Okay, I think that's perfect. Now we can close that. Now we need to connect our application to a real database. Okay, first of all, since we need a database, and in our case is MySQL database, we need to install MySQL first, and then also install Mysql Workbench. So go to your browser and type mysql.com, go to downloads, and then under downloads, go the way down and you'll see MySQL community. Click on it. Then on this page, choose community server. And then if you're using macOS, you can download this version. Okay, click download, and then no thanks, just start my download. When you click, it will start your download. This is gonna take around 5 minutes, so I've already done that. And if you're using, let me just go back, if you're using Windows machine, you need to click on this and then click download according to your operating system, and then start your download. Okay, so let me just go to the downloads, and then we can start our installation. So under downloads, I have MySQL. Okay, click on it. Then open this and then click continue, then next. Here you want to click continue, agree and accept the terms. Okay, next you need to install. Okay, this is the computer password, so go ahead and put your computer password, and then the installation has started. And then next it will tell you whether to use password or to use legacy password encryption. Go with option 1, which is default. Go to next, and then you'll be prompted to put password for your SQL. So this is the password that you're going to use for root user. So I'm gonna choose a simple password, but a complex one, and click finish. And then one more time, just put your computer password. And then the setup is done, and now you can close. You can choose to either move this to trash or keep it. Okay, I'll just move it to trash. And now next, we now need Sql Workbench. This is a graphic tool which will help you to do some queries on your database and do some stuff on your database. Okay, so go back to mysql.com, go to downloads, then on this list you'll see Mysql Workbench. Click on it, then you can choose your operating system, if it's either Windows or Mac OS. For me, I'm using Mac OS, so I'm gonna choose that and click download, and then no thanks, start my download. This is going to start your download as well. It's gonna take a few minutes. I've already done that, so I'm just going to open my downloads, and then click open this DMG image. Alright, and then you need to drag this icon over to applications. Alright, it's done. You can close that, and now with command space I can just search Workbench or SQL Workbench. Click to open. Alright, then click open. It's gonna open SQL Workbench, and this SQL Workbench will help you to connect to your database. So let me just close this. Alright, so it's open. So by default it gives you this connection, local instance, but you can actually add your own connection if you want to. First of all, let's just go ahead and delete this. Click delete connection, delete, so that we can start all over again. Okay, we can give it a name, local instance. Alright, and then this is the host name, which is 127.0.0.1, which is your local address, local machine address, and it will connect on port 3306, and this is the root name. Okay, and now it needs you to put your password, the password that you created during your installation. Okay, default schema, we can skip that, but you can add if you want. Click OK, and then perfect, and then it's open. Okay, you go to schemas. We don't have a schema yet. but we can actually create one. But before we do that, we need now to go back to our application and try to add these connections so that everything is set up. Okay, so first we need the URL to our local database, so that will be spring.datasource.url. all right, jdbc mysql, and then localhost, okay, which is the same as the address that we just saw, and then the port was 3306, and then we can give our schema right here. So the schema that we are linking it to is the schema that we are going to create on the workbench. Okay, we can just call it Spring Boot, and then we also need to put the username and the password. We just saw the username is root, and the password, okay, now here you have to put your password, whatever password you added during your installation. Okay, we also need to tell Hibernate either to create a new schema or to create and drop the previous schema, or to do nothing. At this particular time we're gonna go with nothing, but later on we're gonna explore on this. Okay, we also need to add this data source driver class name. We need I don't know if we do have the dependencies right, because we need the MySQL dependency. Yeah, we don't have that, so we need to add the dependency as well. So right here, and then we need a MySQL dependency, and then the artifact ID will be MySQL. I think connector Java. All right, and optional, yeah, just chose to put optional because sometime we can choose to use the Hibernate connector. I think I misspelled the connector. Okay, and works. Now if we go back here and try to put our driver, and now we can see the MySQL driver. Okay, this driver will help us to connect with MySQL. Okay, perfect. I think now we can test our application, but remember one more thing, we need to add the schema. So on Workbench we need to click this button to add a new schema. Let's call it Spring Boot, and then click apply and apply, then close this. Now we have a Spring Boot, all right, with no tables. Now I can just minimize this and try to test our application, and make sure you have Hibernate set to none so that we can actually use the MySQL database. So I'm gonna go ahead and run this. Okay, and we are getting an error here. Class path resource cannot be resolved. Remember we changed change master to change log master. So let's try again. Hope it works this time around. Cannot be resolved as well. What's happening? Okay, let's try to type this path again. So db changelog stroke changelog master. Okay. Okay, we are getting another error, cannot find declaration database changelog. Okay, so if you go to changelog master, cannot find this. Let's look at the dependencies and see if it work, if everything is okay. Okay, so we have Liquibase. Let's go ahead and just add one Liquibase dependency, see if it works. Liquibase, then instead of Liquibase Maven, let's use Liquibase core. Okay. Ooh. Okay. Okay, let's try one more time. Same error. Let's find out what's happening. So let's check all the way. Same error. Okay. Error parsing line 2. Okay. Line 2. I missed out some of the XML configurations. Let's just try to add them and see if it works well. So I'm just gonna copy paste them from Liquibase and just paste them there and try them out if it works. Yeah, this is good. Now we have a different error. So we cannot find changelog version 1. Let's just refactor this to db and then add changelog, a new directory, changelog. Okay, and then move this file here and move this file here. Okay, now if you open it, they are both under this file. And if I run it again, oh, one more thing, I think we also need to change this. No, it's actually okay. Okay, we need also to put something here on version 1. Okay, try to run it again one more time. Okay, and now we have a different error message. Springboot.user doesn't exist. Okay, now we actually need to just comment out these lines because we don't have a table name by user. Comment out these lines, yeah, just like that. Or you can choose actually to add a table on Liquibase and the Liquibase will do the work for us. But since we have just connected with our database, we just create a new table right here. Create table, call it user. Okay, and we need an ID, which is a primary key, and it should be in a null, a name, and we can change this to 255, and we can actually leave the last part. Let me just do away with this. We can leave the part for age and see if our changelog will work. Okay, then click apply. ID, name, let's delete the last part, then click apply, then close. Okay, then back to our application, see if we can connect. Something must be wrong. Let's see what's happening. Oh, age, yeah. Okay, so let's just go ahead and create age on our workbench. Then guys, if the time allows, I'm gonna show you how to do it on the changelog. If the time doesn't allow, please click on the link above and just go and learn about Liquibase. Okay, it will do all this work for you. Okay, so sorry, under tables, I think I need to close this. Don't save. Close that. Use Spring Boot. Then we need to alter our table user and add one of the columns. Okay, so down here we simply say alter table, which is user, sorry, and then add age, which is an int. Okay, let's try to run this and open up a new query. Go to user, a new query, yeah, and the age is added down here. Okay, so perfect. So let's go back to our application, try to connect with it, go to Postman, yeah, and that works. We get an empty list since we don't have any user saved. We think this is get. Now if we want to save a user, we change it to post. Something must be wrong. Let's see what's happening. Hibernate sequence doesn't exist. Okay, so let's just go to our entity and see what's happening. Yeah, I see. Okay, we have generated ID. We have this and this as columns. Okay, let's go to our workbench and see what's happening. First of all, on the columns we have ID and name, so we need to refresh that, and now we have this. Okay, under user we can actually click that tool to change the ID. Since we have it as auto increment or auto generate, I believe this is auto increment, and then click apply, then it will alter that and change column ID to auto increment. Okay, and then click apply and then close. Okay, and then one more thing, on our user entity we need to add a strategy, and then generation type will be identity. Okay, let's try to rerun this. Then go to our Postman and try to, yeah, and it works. So the ID should be auto incremented even on our database. Okay, I think that's perfect. Now we've connected our database successfully, and just to make sure that that works, okay, we're gonna test it on our workbench, and there we go. We have ID1, person A of age 24. Alright, so next we are going to learn about Lombok. Lombok, well, it's a Java library which automatically plugs into your editor and build tools, and it actually helps you to reduce the boilerplate code like we have here. For instance, on this entity, we actually have getters and setters on this, and we also have a constructor. Okay, if you don't know what's the meaning of getters and setters, or what's the importance of getters and setters, please click the link above so that you can learn about getters and setters. I've prepared a video for that. But if you know what's getters and setters, let's go ahead with this and show you how we can use Lombok, which is a library, to reduce all these boilerplate. So we need to go to our POM file and then add a Lombok as a dependency. You can actually add anywhere, dependency, and then the group ID will be, I think it's project Lombok. Let me just stop this. We don't need it right now. Project Lombok, and then the artifact should be Lombok. And then if your application, by the way, if it doesn't auto build, you can click build. It will appear down here, but for me, I've already set it to auto build. So whenever I make any changes on the POM file, it auto builds. Okay, so let's go ahead and actually see how we can use that. First of all, we're gonna use it to reduce the boilerplate on the getters and setters. So right here, instead of having this, you can just add an annotation of getters, yeah, and setter, and then that's perfect. So if I remove this, it will actually work the same as I had the getters and setters. Okay. Another way we can use this is by removing the constructor. You see, now this is the empty constructor that you need on serialization. So instead of having that constructor there, you can just say add no args constructor, and then that's perfect. And then if you need another constructor with the variables, now you need to add all arg constructor, and this will act as if you have a constructor here, and then pass in the name and age, sorry, string name and int age, and then have this dot age equals to age, this dot name equals to name. Okay, so instead of doing all this, you can use Lombok to actually do it for you. So if you say all args constructor, it actually creates this constructor behind the scene. So for this entity, we don't need all args constructor, and I can remove that. But there is somewhere we can use all that, which is the request that is coming. Here we also don't need this part, and we don't need this part. We actually need all args constructor as well as getters and setters. We also need to convert this to string. I'm gonna create a video of how you can convert classes into string and what's the use of that. Okay, so for this tutorial, I'm gonna focus on just introduction to Lombok. Okay, and now another cool annotation is at data. Instead of having all these annotations, instead of having all this, and be replaced by just one annotation, at data. So at data will do all that. All right. And now we are set to go, and we can just add one more constructor of no args constructor. Yeah, just that. All right. And another thing that we also need to add, which is very vital, especially when we want to return our response. Let's just go to our response and kind of do the same. But now here we need another annotation, which is @builder. So @builder helps you to build this class. Let me just show you an example of that. Okay, let's go to the place that we are using it. Okay, right here, and get response right here. So assuming we actually need to just set the name and not the age, right? We can use the builder. Sorry about that. User response dot builder dot build. Okay, this will create a new object of user response. Okay, but since this gives you an option either to set age alone, you can actually set age, let's say 25, and this will create an object and you can send back to the user. You don't have to set the age, name, and ID, everything. And also you can actually put all of them. So let's go ahead and replace all these with just a builder. Okay, and the ID. Okay, now we don't need all this. Look how it reduces the boiler code, and we can just say return that. All right, perfect. Now we just return this. It will build and then set all these variables and then build it. Okay, next we are going to learn about Spring validations, especially in our requests. I'll close that and close that. Okay, so on our request, we need to be able to validate if the name is actually there, it's actually valid, and all that, and also the age. All right, but before we do that, we need one more dependency on the home file. I don't think we have that. Okay, let's go ahead and add this dependency. It's a Spring Boot dependency, so it will be all Spring framework dot boot, and then the artifact ID will be Spring Boot starter validation. All right, it's done. And then on our requests, add not blank, give it a message. You can say required field blank, something like that. Then we say name. Okay, and we can do the same for age as well. You can do that for the required fields, and this is age. And to test this, we go back to our postman and try to create another person. This is person B of age 26, and then try to send. And we need to run this application first. Okay, let's try again. There you go. But you realize when we don't put the age, let's say we create a person C without the age, something must be wrong. It should tell us that the age is not valid. this looks okay. So I think we missed one annotation here at valid, so that it can validate our request. Okay, so let's try to run it again. Okay, go to Postman, try it again. Something must be wrong. I think since the age is an int, we can actually do away with that, because it will automatically set the int to 0 if you put nothing. So let's run again, try it out. Go to Postman. Bad requests, and if we go back to our application, it can actually show us that validation failed for this, and we have a message. Let's see if we have a message right here. Yeah, at the very end we have a message, required field blank name. Okay, so guys, the reason that it's not showing on this side, of which that error message should come on this side instead of bad request, is that we haven't configured the errors. So next tutorial I'm gonna show you guys how you can configure the errors so that you can actually show custom errors on the front end side. For instance, for this one we need to show the message that field required on the front end side. But for now, let's close this tutorial. Thanks a lot for watching, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. This will mean a lot to me because you're supporting this channel, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.